Hey guys, this is Breakman Z for Gamers Embassy, and I am here with Doc Mack of Galloping Ghost Arcade. First of all, I just want to say thank you for this interview. This is really going to mean a lot for not only myself, but also the site in general.
Thank you very much for all coming out.
Now, for people that are unenlightened as to what Galloping Ghost Arcade is, why don't you just explain real quick what it is?
Well, Galloping Ghost Arcade, we're actually the largest arcade in the U.S. We actually have 395 games on our arcade floor now. The way that we differ from other arcades that we're not coin-based. We just have a $15 fee to get in, and then you can stay all day and play as long as you want. We really take pride in the fact that we try to keep our games very well maintained. We're always adding new stuff, usually around at least 100 games a year. So far. We do a ton of events there. We do everything from swap meets to fighting game tournaments. We try to teach a lot of elements of gaming. We do wiring classes where we teach people how to actually make arcade sticks, fully wire arcade cabinets. So we really try to have a very community-based atmosphere with the gamers, instead of it just being a place that you can, it's not just a room with a bunch of games. We really try to spend a lot of time tracking high scores. We take high scores very seriously as well. We've had over 120 world records set at our arcade since we opened.
Oh, nice.
And it's a daily thing. We have a lot of regular players that have become world-class caliber players, which has just been great. So.
Now, we've seen myself and my camera person Janice over there. We're currently in your office right now, and we saw some of the other machines that aren't on the floor right now. But I mean, there's some classics in there, and there's also some pinball home games.
Yeah, the games in our expansion, we're doing first of now a 3-part expansion. Our pinball area, we normally have it open several times during the week or on request. So we do have gamers in here that we have currently 8 pinball machines that people can come in and play pretty much whenever, and just spill over because we're just running out of room on the main floor with putting so many games. So the ultimate goal is to have our next door neighbors move back, and then we're going to join all 3 buildings. And then we're also working on adding 1 more party room. So we should be able to, by the end of it, we want to have close to 500 games here. So it's just a matter of time.
Now, in just walking around on the floor, I've also seen that there are some custom cabinets that are made. Some of them are dual games, and some of them are actually consoles that are running games. Like, I think I saw the most recent one was Injustice.
Yes. NetherRealm had actually contacted us and asked me to make an arcade cabinet for their offices. They have a really cool arcade at their place that has all the old Midway games. They had seen that we had done a Mortal Kombat 2011 game, had done full side art and new marquee, control panel art, everything. So they were impressed by that and asked me to make a cabinet for them. We had, as the industry has changed and not as many games are coming out on the arcade platform, we've really needed a way to kind of reach out to keep people, like, to have new stuff for them to play and have tournaments on. So that's why we do the PlayStation games. Usually it's just for the fighting games that have had a history in the arcade. Mm-hmm. Again, Mortal Kombat, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, King of Fighters 13, like the reason, and that would be one that when that game came out in the arcade, I had actually imported it from Japan, and everybody was coming from literally from all over the U.S. to play it, because we were only for a while we were the only arcade in the U.S. with the actual board. So the fighting scene was very hot. They wanted it, so we had to have it. But as the console version came out and they made character upgrades and they added a new character, then people didn't want to play the actual arcade one anymore. They wanted the actual console one. And again, it's only because we have such a competitive fighting scene, especially in Chicago and on the coast. We actually have a Mortal Kombat team that's comprised of 10 players, and we fly them literally all over, usually all over the U.S., but we've been sending them out of the country lately too, to go compete in tournaments. And we pay their hotel and their airfare and all their tournament fees. And our Team Galloping Ghost, especially in Mortal Kombat, because just this weekend, our guys just won a tournament, and we're looking forward to sending them out to EVO this year and try to make all the big major tournaments out there. And, it's great, and it's very unique for an arcade to have an actual group of guys that they can send out and represent them. But it really goes to show the caliber of player that actually comes out here.
Mm-hmm. Now, of all the games that are out on the floor right now, everybody's got kind of like that one game in which they feel like they are undefeatable at. Right now, what is your one game?
I play everything, but probably Mortal Kombat 2 is still one that that had been one of the games that I had owned at my house, and I had played it for years. I know every frame of that game, but it even now I haven't played it in probably a month. The cool thing about having this place is you're always playing something new every day, and especially with our regulars, like they'll get hooked on a game for a while. Like right now I'm playing Mercs from Capcom from 1990, and several of our regulars are as well. And you just kind of gravitate towards the new stuff and go back to some old stuff. And really hard with this many games to define just one game that you're like, this is my favorite, especially with so many different genres.
Oh yeah. Now you were talking about importing boards and everything. One particular board that I saw inactive over there was Sega Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes.
Now how were you able to get your hands on that golden gem?
I found I've over the years developed a lot of contacts out in Japan. I remember my first board that I'm a huge Samurai Showdown fighting game fan, and I wanted to have all 6 of those, and I had imported Samurai Showdown 6 Tenkenichi, and that was really the start of some very strong connections. And I had, with previous businesses that I had owned, I had imported a lot of things from Japan, mostly like Godzilla merchandise, and have just kind of gravitated into a new group of friends out in Japan that deal mostly in arcade boards. And now it's about every month I'll make an order. I'll need some board from Japan, and whether it's Salamander 2, which was the spin-off series of Gradius, got that in from Japan, and really tried to bring in games that people haven't heard of, and definitely some very rare and obscure stuff. Sega Sonic was one that I had a huge lifelong Sega fan. I had for years collected Sega Genesis. I had actually, as it came out, I had every commercially released Sega Genesis game. Growing up, I would spend half my time working so I could buy all the games as they came out. And I had never really known that there was an arcade game, and that's how obscure it was. And I've had tons of friends at Sega and just never heard about it. And I've heard there's possibly as few as only 6 boards out there for that game.
Oh, wow.
So I think they only made them for the Sega World Tour and for the Sega arcades in Japan. So obtaining one had popped up. It was fairly expensive, but it's been great watching people. Again, people have traveled just to play that game, and you can really see It's not the deepest game out there by any means, but it's definitely one of the games you'll see people having so much fun on just because it's so fast-paced, and it's a very unique game. So.
I've also, excuse me, I've also seen on the website that currently you're working on your own arcade game. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, that's being done through Galloping Ghost Productions. We've been working on a game called Dark Presence. We spent about 4 years in our filming studio, filming Dark Presence and its sequel, Conquering Light, which uses live actors similar to how the old Mortal Kombat games were filmed, but much more content, and much, like, everything's in HD, everything's running 30 frames a second. The reason why it took so long to film was we had 250 basic moves and reactions that every actor had to film, and if they landed out of mark from doing a move by more than an inch, they had to refilm the move.
Ooh.
So we had moves that one move took 187 takes was our most attempts to get one move done, and that was 3 days of filming.
Oh wow!
So it was it's been an incredible process where everybody on the project is a die-hard fighting game fan, die-hard video game fan. We really want to make a game that is able to compete with like the big, like the multi-million-dollar games that are out there, like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And even though we're an indie company, we really hope to bring something that's very unique and but on the same caliber as those other games.
Now, when are you expecting the whole project to be done and out there for people to play?
We're hoping for right around the end of the year, early next year. We want to make the game as excellent as possible. We're not in a huge rush to meet some deadline. And you see, like, other games that get pushed out, they have the day one patches and they're fixing things for months. And we don't want to have to do that. We want to we have places that are ready, other arcades ready to buy it. We have our U.S. tour pretty much laid out. We have places in Japan that are interested, places in Turkey and Germany. Like, we'll have a worldwide release for it. But we really want to make sure that, especially because of the way the arcade industry is, we want to make sure that it's a very solid launch. So, shooting for end of the year, though.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where you want to make sure that you get it right on the first shot.
For sure.
Not have, something like a punch go out of frame and it screws everything up.
Bad contact boxes, and you see that a lot with just like games being broken, like just contact boxes and combos not working properly, or moves that can be done over and over where the opponents can't get out of them. And again, we've been pretty heavily scrutinized. A lot of people are watching us, which is excellent. And again, we've been compared to like the levels of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, and it is because we have like NetherRealm is they're very friendly with us. It's a great company. They're doing fighting games, and people really expect us to do something very impressive. And we don't want to disappoint. So
now, also just completely changing gears here. Where did the name Galloping Ghost come from?
Galloping Ghost production, that actually started in 1994. I had seen a similar logo on a World War II bomber, and I thought it was a really cool concept, so I redrew it and just kind of made up my own design. The story, I was actually talking with a guy from, a friend of mine from Razorsoft, who was a company that put out Sega Genesis games. And I had character designs and game designs, and I had always known I wanted to work in the industry, and was talking with him about it, and he's like, we're just going back and forth on the phone, and he's like, what company do you work for? And I had actually just got the logo tattooed on me, and just kind of was like, that's my company, Galloping Ghost, and just kind of rolled with it from there. And we've built up. When the arcade started, my now business partner at the arcade, Jerry Cantu, he was one of my actors on the production end of things, and he was filming a character, Cole, for the Conquering Light game. And he was selling his business, and I had told him that he had approached me and he wanted to partner up on something. And I had the business model for the arcade that I was going to open after the game had launched. And he really liked it, and just kind of went from there. He's like, can we do this? Like, do you want to partner up on this? And I was hesitant at first, only because I knew it was going to put a delay on the release of Dark Presence, and it did set us back close to 2 years. But fortunately, the game is so large that it's still a very viable game for years to come. But now we've got the arcade that promotes, like, initially the production company promoted the arcade, and it was such a big draw because I know so many people in the industry, and like our opening day event, we had the actors from Mortal Kombat. Daniel Casino was out here, who played Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile. Philip Bond, who played Shang Tsung, and Ken Agren, who was Katana and Melina. John Turk, who was Sub-Zero and Shang Tsung and MK3, and John Parrish, who played Jax, and a bunch of guys from the production end. Able to get all them out here because of my ties to the production company, and that really helped promote the arcade very well. Now the arcade is blown up, and we're, again, the largest arcade in the U.S., and because of that, that has really helped get a lot more, even more attention for Dark Presence. So it's been this great, and has always been the business model of one supports the other, grows real large, and then swings back around to support the originals. So.
Now, just the comparisons you were making with for Dark Presence, comparing it to something like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, are there going to be any like secrets or Easter eggs in there, kind of like the infamous snake reptile, rumors of days gone by, or something like that?
We do have a few tricks in the game. There is a hidden character in the first game. He's currently pretty difficult to get to. The moves that we filmed for him were pretty elaborate, and there's definitely going to be some secrets. We're trying to make the game different in other ways. We have a full achievement system for the game. So we're definitely going to have some interesting ways to unlock like those achievements in the game as well. So there's definitely a lot of fun secret stuff in there.
All right, and last question I've got for you. I know that you've got all the games over here, and also working on your own games. Do you play at home? And if so, what are you kind of looking forward to for the next generation of gaming?
I do play at home, not as frequently as I would like. Normally, if I'm here, I play every day, at least arcade games. But for the home console, currently I've been playing a lot of PlayStation 3. I always play all the Resident Evil series, all the God of Wars. A huge Castlevania fan. Mm-hmm. I'm still, for the arcade, I'm very anxious for the new Killer Instinct. I know that has a lot of people on the Xbox One. A lot of people are interested in that, so we'll do a custom cabinet for that when that comes out. And, it's definitely going to be really interesting seeing what comes out in the new fighting games and all the new games in general. So Haven't decided which one I'm going to get, but I'm leaning towards a PlayStation, but I'll probably end up getting both.
Oh.
But we'll have to see.
Of course. Now, of course, for people that are unaware, what is the website people can go to check out more information about the arcade and Galloping Ghost Productions in general?
You can check us out at gallopingghostproductions.com or gallopingghost.com or gallopingghostarcade.com. And definitely on Facebook. We pretty much are on Facebook every day, showing what new games we're working on and giving updates on Dark Presence and stuff as well.
Well, Doc, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, for Gamers Embassy, this is Breakman Z saying thanks for watching, and of course, may your save files never be corrupted. Take care, everybody.